Hey, James. Yeah, I understand you believe in God, but not Christianity. Is
No,
that right?
no, no. I don't believe in God. I know there is a God, but I don't believe in Christianity.
You know there's a
Nice.
God, but you do not
How do
believe
you know
in
it?
God.
How do I know it? Because God spoke to me and told me what to do. And when I did what God told me to do, I got some results.
How do you know it was a God?
Okay.
Pardon me? By the results.
So you're saying that God spoke to you and you did something and you
Spoke to
got
me.
results and you know that it was a God, I'm sorry, yeah, you knew it was a God because you got those results.
Of the
But how do you
results.
know how do you know it wasn't an alien that was like beaming it into your head or something?
Well, if it was an alien beaming it into my head, then that alien had to be God, because how somebody going to beam something in your head unless they have the power to do it?
It feels like we are capable of a lot right now, and there may come a
Wait a minute,
time when we can be heads.
excuse me now. You just said maybe something beamed it in my head. You didn't say what I was capable of. You say something beamed it into my head. An
No,
alien
you said
beamed it into my
beamed it
head.
in your head. I'm
No,
sorry,
no, no,
you
no,
said that
no.
you received a message.
You said
And
how did I
no.
how did I know that that wasn't an alien that beamed that into my head?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So if it was an alien that beamed it into my head, then that alien had to have powers greater than me, because ain't nobody else beaming anything into my head.
That's
Okay,
not so,
sure.
James,
It
that's
had to
not
be more
that's not what
powerful.
Owen's asking. Owen's asking,
Okay.
how do you know whether it was God or whether it was an alien, or maybe this is all a simulation and there's like a bunch of programmers sitting on computers and they were feeding this to you?
Okay. So where would those computers be? Would that be into the man who preached the
I
gospel
don't
to
know.
me?
I'm
Because I
not.
got it.
So, James, you're
Okay.
focusing on the
Okay. I
wrong part of
got
the
it.
question. Let me talk, then
I
I can.
got it.
Then I can. Nope.
Okay.
Let me
I'm gonna
finish
tell
what
you
I'm
where I
saying.
got it from. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to mute you. So the
There you
way
go.
this call is going to go is where we're going to take turns talking, and we will let you have turns talking. Owen and I have done a great job of letting callers talk a lot tonight. We will let you talk. But if one of us is asking something, it's because we're trying to get the call on track. Even if we have to interrupt you for a second, it's because we're trying to keep the call on track. So what our question is what's the difference between it being something else and a god? How did you determine that the only possible answer was that it was a god and not something else?
I was listening to a preacher preaching, and the preacher was preaching on how do you spell relief. So I was
Okay.
interested in this. I was interested in the subject. Then he was talking about the things that people need relief from. So as he was going through the things, he was maybe saying some things that had my interest and had me inquisitive. But he said something very pronounced. He said to me that I didn't have any joy. I was
I'm sorry
26
that
years
you did.
old, didn't have any joy,
Okay.
joy, Joy.
Understood.
So he looked me directly at me and said, I didn't have any joy. Now, when he said that, I thought about it. And as I thought about it, I said, how did he know that? Because I didn't have no joy. None whatsoever. I
Okay.
examined myself right there on the spot, and I was depleted of all joy. There was no joy in me. But outwardly, you couldn't tell that I was 26 years old. I was nicely dressed. And if somebody would have said you didn't have no joy, I would have laughed them in their face and lied to them and told them I did. But when you said I
Okay.
didn't
Well,
have no joy, here you go. I'm going to say it right
I'm trying
now.
to
There was
like what
there was a
you're saying.
there was
How did we
another.
get here? Look, I'm going to mute you again just for a second because I'm having some trouble with lag and everything else. But I'm not sure how this kind of furthers our understanding. Like, you believe in a God. I want to believe in a God too, if there is one. Please get me there. You said that you got a message from God and you got results showing you that he was real or whatever. Tell us what it was so that we can be convinced too. Tell us why you also believe so we can be convinced also. Personally, I'm going to unmute you in a second. I'm just going to say, I also felt like I had no joy and then threw myself into religion and then felt like I had joy afterward and then realized that I didn't really have joy. So, yes, I think we've all pretty much probably been through this same exact experience. Okay, you're unmuted now. Go ahead.
Okay, so the preacher said you didn't have no joy. I examined myself. I didn't have any joy.
Okay.
Went all up and down through me and examined myself. And I was getting ready
James.
to
James, is your whole
now
story
he
that
just
somebody told you? Is your whole story that somebody told you something about
he just
yourself that you were
he just
surprised they
told
knew,
me
and
he
then
just
you had
told
joy
me
in your
he
life?
just told me he was gonna let me talk. Now I'm trying to
I
tell you.
I I'm sad to tell you that we're both the hosts, and that when we decide we want to talk, we
Okay.
get to talk. If I ask you a question, it's because I'm
Okay, all
trying
right.
to help you,
Okay,
because
I
you're not.
got you now.
If
You
you
talk
keep
when
interrupting
you
me,
talk.
I
Wait
will
a
hang
minute.
up.
You talk
James.
when you get ready. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, I'm going to keep you muted now.
There we
If
go.
we talk, it's because we're trying to help you make sense of your argument, because it's currently not making sense. So we're pausing you because we're on limited time. And every time I unmute this and you start interrupting us, it makes me feel like you are not being honest in this conversation because you're not listening to us. If you actually want to have a conversation, we can. My question for you is your whole story that somebody knew something about you that you didn't know how they could know it's true, and then you were experiencing joy? Because I'm just going to tell you, a pastor going up to somebody and saying, you don't have joy, that's going to work out for him a large percentage of the time, because a lot of people are dealing with awful things in life, and it feels really comforting to have somebody notice that you're going through a difficult time, or that you are depressed, or whatever it may be. So that makes sense. I hear you. It feels really good when somebody notices something about us. I'm asking how you know there's a God.
Okay, can I say it now?
Yep. Unmuted.
Yes.
Am I unmuted? So the preacher said you didn't have no joy. I searched myself, examined myself. I didn't have any.
James, are
I
you going to
started
answer my
vacate.
question, or are you just going to tell the story again?
Well, you keep interrupting me. I'm trying to answer it now. Every time I get to the point of saying, look, now can I talk, or do you want to
You can
talk? Do you
answer my
want to tell me
question. You can
what
answer
is
the
your
question,
question? What is your
you don't
question?
know. James, do you
What's
really
your
not know what my
question?
question is?
What is your question? Ask me your question.
I
Ask
already
me a
asked it
question.
twice now. I've asked it twice now. Can you tell me what I asked? That's actually my question now. What did I mute you for to ask?
You asked me what could I say to make you feel that what I'm saying is true.
Not to
And I'm
make me
trying to
feel.
tell you that.
How? I don't want to feel anything. I want to know that a God exists like you do.
To let you
So
know,
get me there.
you asked me what could I say to make you know. And I'm finna tell you that right now. Are you ready?
I've
As
been
long as
ready
you're
and
not
waiting, and
going
you
to
keep
repeat.
repeating yourself.
Yeah,
All
you're
right, now
continuing.
y'all started talking. I'm saying I want to answer it right now, but you won't let me answer it. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like there's some kind of a lag situation because we keep talking over each other. So just mute you for a second while I talk, and then I'll unmute you. I was saying, I think there's like, I don't feel like we're getting anywhere or we're having our questions answered when you continue on with the exact same story you were telling 5 minutes ago before we asked the questions. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna unmute again, and maybe we'll do the mute unmute thing so that we can take turns because of the lag and everything. Go ahead, you're unmuted.
Okay, can I talk now?
Yes.
All right. So when the man said I didn't have no joy, I started to vacate the scene. Then another voice said in my head, you know he right. And that was the voice that got me. See, because I knew I didn't have no joy. I knew the preacher couldn't know that I have any joy or not, but that other voice inside of me said, you know, he's right. Then he told me what I could do to get joy. So I went over, surrendered myself, told me first I needed to be baptized for the remission of my sins. I was a sinner, wasn't no doubt about that. I went up, got baptized, came up out of the water, and my sins were gone.
Okay.
Then they told me, now you can get filled with the Holy Ghost. So I went up and I got filled with the Holy Ghost. And when the Holy Ghost came in, it was pure joy. I mean, pure joy.
Okay,
James,
so
you're telling us a story, and there's still
I'm
no
telling you
like
what happened. I'm
here,
telling you.
I'm gonna mute it so that
we're gonna talk now. Yeah. You're telling us that a story. I am nowhere closer to believing that a God exists than before you called. Oh, and sorry, I interrupted. I know you're going to say something.
no. I muted it so that you could talk. And let me just add that you told us at the beginning of this that something happened to you where you were given a message in your head, and the results made you believe that it was real. So the thing that you heard in your head was that you didn't have any joy. That's very easily something that you could have conjured up yourself. There wasn't like, I was expecting some kind of a story of like like God told you there was like a moldy piece of bread under your bed, and sure enough, there it was, or something. And it looked like Jesus. I don't know what I expected, but I'm not sure how we got anywhere with this. Okay, I'm gonna unmute you again. There you go.
Okay, now that was the same voice that told me to get off the bus and go over to see what they were doing. So I rode 3 blocks down from the park where they were at.
How do you know that voice? Yeah. How do you know that voice wasn't your own thoughts?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying the voice in my head told me to go back and see what they were doing. I was on the bus. I rode 3 blocks down from the park, got off the bus, walked back down there to see what they were doing. I didn't know it was a revival in the park. When I got to the park, it was a revival there. I was finna leave, and then something caught my attention when he was talking about how do you spell relief. And then he said I didn't have no joy.
Something caught your attention. So, James, I'm going to be honest. Yeah. We've got 2 other callers that I hope actually have evidence for us. If your whole evidence is just a personal story that so far is not even very interesting, then that's not evidence for a God. That's not a reason to know that a God exists. And I'm not convinced at all.
I'll tell you what you do. You go to the 9th chapter of the book of Acts and read Paul's story.
I've already read. I've read it many times. I was studying it. I was studying
exact same thing.
James, I used to pray in tongues. I used to be a worship leader.
You can go. I'm through with it. You can go. Maybe I'll call back again. But it's that exact same thing that happened to Paul happened to me. The exact same thing that happened to Paul.
Okay, I'm going to mute you again. I'm just going to tell you that you having a personal experience is not evidence for the existence of a God. It's evidence that you had an experience, if we even choose to believe you. Oh, he's gone now. But that was rough. That was really rough. I don't know that any other hosts are going to want to take that call, but
yeah, it was hard to understand because I don't know if there's a delay or what, but he's most definitely talking over us like a lot. So, not a whole lot we can do.
I think it's that's the difference between a caller that's calling to have a conversation and a caller that wants to preach. And I've been preached at so much of my life. That's not evidence for a God. So
yeah. And I was really hoping for a moldy piece of bread story or something, but
right. That actually sounds interesting.
Thanks for watching that clip. Hey, we're trying to do some data research about whether or not our callers successfully proved that God existed. If they didn't, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's how we know they failed. But if you don't like and subscribe, you're saying that they succeeded. So you're saying that by liking and subscribing, you will be affirming that you are an atheist. Hey, what else should they do?
I don't know. Maybe go to patreon.com/calltheline and donate some of their hard-earned money.
Like and subscribe.